Welcome to the Copy Talk podcast. Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer member, FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Financial planning services through Lighthouse Financial, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Shannon Ross is CEO and managing partner of Lighthouse Financial. Lighthouse and Cambridge are not affiliated. And now, here's your host, Shannon Ross.
Well, happy Thursday, everyone. We are back at it this week.
We are. Good morning.
Welcome to Copy Talk.
Welcome.
This is our podcast. This is our home away from home.
Yeah.
I love this studio.
I love
our
Thursdays.
Team. I love Thursdays.
Thursdays
too.
are the best.
We always talk about that.
I know. We have a fun bunch.
We do. We like it. Well, we have a really good new series starting today. But before we start, I don't think I've ever seen this many notes in front of you. I think you are at the top of your game.
Well,
but before we get there,
I wasn't letting you miss this.
I'm trying to dismiss it. You see what she's wearing today, and for the audience that are not using YouTube yet to watch this show, please do.
Roll
because
Tide.
Alabama just threw up all over April, and she is decked out head to toe in her Alabama gear because Alabama did beat Tennessee.
That's right.
Whatever.
Roll Tide. Yes, we did.
Yes.
We let you pretend for the first half of the game.
You did
that
sweat.
Might
I did take some pictures
win.
during the game of Tennessee leading Alabama, especially in the first quarter.
You know,
So it could have been worse. That's the first time that's happened in several years.
Well,
so I take my little victory.
that was only Saban's way of, you know what, guys, hold back. Let's let them think that they might win this year, and then we're going to pummel them in the second half.
So
it was
thank you
beautiful.
for rubbing my nose in
I
that.
wanted to be the most obnoxious that I could be today.
Oh, you succeeded.
I'm feeling spicy on this Thursday morning. And so this morning as I was getting dressed and I'm hitting this, I thought, you know what? What's the best thing I could do for my blonde best friend today? And that is to rub it in her face.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate that.
So yes, all the notes.
Yes, all the notes. Do you feel prepared for today's show?
I do feel prepared. Don't let this overwhelm you. I'm not, you know me. If I'm going to research something.
I said to her, because she has a part of the show that she's responsible for, and I was like, wow, is that going to be the whole show?
Okay, you know me. I go 150%
I know.
in.
I love it. I just like teasing you.
Yeah, I
You're
promise-
like the little sister I never had.
I know. I'm going to.
So I tease you at
I don't
every
want to be
opportunity.
the little sister you never had.
Well, you're younger. That's what you get for being younger.
Oh, I am younger than you. That's right. So don't worry. I won't read through all of this. I just did my research. One, because it actually affects me and I didn't even know
does.
myself.
Yep.
So that's why I want, eventually when we get to it, I wanted to share with the audience because I think it affects more people. And there's some nuggets of information that I think are really good.
You're very grown up today. Chris always
A
gives
little
you a
bit.
hard time of
Just
like,
a little bit
no,
grown
never
up.
having notes. And whew,
I'm
you're
adulting
proving
in-
him. Yeah,
I'm
you're proving
adulting
him
here.
wrong this morning. Well,
Yeah.
before we get to the show
Yep.
topic, do you have any sanity spends or something exciting this week going
I
on?
took the rest of today off
I
after we're done
know.
here.
Lucky.
I know. I'm going to go do some self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Thank you for approving. She's also my boss. So thanks for also approving my half day
You're
off today.
welcome.
Although I
There's
don't-
some fringe benefits of having your best friend as your boss.
Although I don't think you signed it yet, but that's okay.
I
You'll
did
get to
sign it. I
fine.
did. I
What about you?
promise.
What about you?
Well, today I am doing the mad dash of any working mom because we have a big day tomorrow
Yes,
in my
we
house.
do.
My daughter turns 16 tomorrow.
Ugh.
And so I have a lot of pickups later on this afternoon.
Oh, do you?
To make them.
Did you finalize some things? Are you going to share with me what you finalized?
Well, my daughter does not like to make plans of any kind.
I know. Well, I'm
So,
kind of like pushing it on her.
I know. So I have plans for her,
Good.
and then we're going to just kind of play
Good.
it by ear a little bit
Good.
tomorrow.
Love it.
And apparently when you're 16, the thing she wanted most was a piercing.
I know.
So,
Which
I'm
I
all
offered to
for
pay
that.
for.
I know.
I'm like, I'll pay for it. I'm the aunt.
There are no noses getting pierced tomorrow. It's only in the ear. So that was our compromise. So that is, we're going to I think it's called Freakies for a piercing tomorrow.
Yes.
And I told her,
Yes.
I told her it cannot,
I love
and
it.
we've talked about this. I have a bus route that I don't really like to go south of that bus route because I just don't know those areas as well. And so it's within at least my expanded bus route. So she did find a piercing
Freakies is?
place. Mm-hmm. It is.
It is.
So,
Well,
you know.
I told her Aunt April would pay for it. I'm all for the piercings. I was okay with the nose, but
Great.
y'all weren't. But last
help.
night, talking to my son
I
about
know.
it, Haley's her
Yeah.
present and her big thing on Friday, and he's like, "Oh, good. Can I get a tattoo?" I'm like,
Tattoos and piercings. Like, great.
"No, you're 15."
Yeah.
I think it's a little early for a tattoo.
Oh boy. So so she turns 16 tomorrow.
I know. I'm
So she gets her driver's license in about a week after her birthday because the whole permit requirements and
Yeah.
you have to wait a year and COVID and all the things.
Yeah.
So, but nowadays, I mean, getting your driver's license takes so many steps and hurdles. I mean, when we were getting ours, you had to just pass the test. It didn't matter if you knew how to drive, if you could just, study and at least pass something.
Yeah.
And fool the driving test
Got in-
instructor, you were golden.
Yeah. We got in cars with strangers and took a driving test, and then my parents handed me keys to a car. I'm like, "Were you insane?
I know.
Like, what made you think I could drive?" It's lucky I'm alive.
Seriously.
Or anybody else for that.
I know. Well, and when I got my driver's license, I went with a good friend, and her dad took us. And my friend went first, and she failed. And then she decided to tell off the driver instructor.
Oh, that
at
always
a
goes well.
16-year-old of how he didn't know anything and totally riled him up. And so I get in the car and I was just trying to think of the right thing to say. And I'm like, "Excuse me, sir, just so you know, I do not agree with anything my friend just said." Because I'm trying to win him over so that we
Such a
can
kiss up.
I know.
You're such a kiss
I wanted to pass and to have a blank slate. And so I passed and she didn't. And she didn't talk to me for like 2 weeks after that.
Well, she
And
also
we're
didn't
no
get to
longer
drive
friends either. So.
she also didn't get to drive, and you did. So
That's right. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's an exciting thing. Well, I'll let you all know next week how the birthday goes. So.
I'm very excited for her birthday.
Me
tomorrow.
too. She's been waiting for this day for a long time. She can't
They
wait. to
live
drive.
for 16.
She is the one extrovert in our family, and so she's excited to leave us losers in the dust.
I know. I told her the other day I'm never going to see her again if she gets her license.
I know. So we are excited for that. So we are turning the corner to end the year. So this show, as many of you know, if you've listened to more than 2 shows of Copy Talk, is we focus on financial topics and we focus on empowerment topics. And so we spent a lot of this fall doing a series around emotional intelligence, which is more the empowerment side. And so we're going to round the corner, and don't turn us off because you need to know about these financial tips because they impact everyone. Financial information, people tend to turn down the volume. It's boring. It doesn't, they don't want to face it. They don't want to do anything. But this will,
That's
we'll
what the
try
show
to
is, though,
I know.
mostly.
It's important.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make it fun. We're trying to make it lighthearted. But we are going to take the next several shows and dive into the 7 year-end strategies that can greatly
7.
impact your wealth. 7.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite numbers. So
Well,
I tend to focus on 7, 11, and 9. So
Where does that come from exactly?
this is 7.
But you also
everyone in my household is
You missed
also
it, by the
7.
way.
Well, I saw it, but
11,
then I
11.
didn't want to get made fun of. But everyone in my house for their sports are either 7, usually 7, 9, or 11. So
Interesting. It's a good little factoid.
and you're number
Copy
15
Talk
today.
World.
So
Yes, I am.
why are you number 15?
It's the shirt I bought.
Oh, so you don't have like an
By
affinity
the way,
for a
did you notice
15
it's
play?
like dirty.
I think it's maybe time for a new one, or at
Well-
least to wash that one.
Well, you can't.
Oh,
now
oh,
I
it has
can't
mojo
wash
in it?
Yeah, now I can't wash it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Hello, you may think
Well.
that's I don't smell. I mean, like it's not just because it's dirty.
Well, you're all the way over there.
This might be a
so
little
even if you
smash
do have
burger from Saturday night. Okay, sorry. We'll go off the rails there. Okay.
So as we start this new segment, we're going to kind of take our time to do a couple per show. And so today's show, we're going to focus on 2 topics. And the first strategy we're going to talk about, and we've talked about other shows, but then year end, what do I need to do? Because your tax returns are on a fiscal year, which means January to December 31st. So because higher taxes are coming, and we're going to talk about a little bit why they're coming, with their national debt where it is and some programs going on, which are great for now, but they're going to be paid for over time.
Yep.
So higher taxes are coming. So what are some things we can all do to take advantage of some things that are only available now and maybe for the next year or two to maximize our take home pay. I mean,
Yeah.
maximize the money that stays in our pocket.
Right.
Taxes is probably, I know it's one of the most boring topics people think.
Yeah,
of,
it is.
but it is one of the most impacting
Yeah,
topics if you know what you're doing or have the right advisor as a
Right.
part of your team. That advisory team we talk about all the time on this show, you can actually maximize your wealth that much more.
Yeah.
It's probably the single most important topic that you could master if you had to pick one.
And the one
So,
that most people want to avoid.
that's right.
Yeah.
Because it seems boring and confusing and
Scary.
a little scary. The IRS, it's a little scary.
scary.
I understand. So let's talk a little bit about just kind of painting the picture. If those of you out there don't really know what's going on, is that obviously you're seeing a lot of programs being approved, being proposed in the House Ways and Means Committee, regarding some major tax increases to pay for the $3.5 trillion social policy bill. It still has to go through the House and the Senate to get approved, but it's going to change all of our lives in the coming years. But what are some of the benefits that people have received in the short term? And that leads me to you, because you've received some of this benefit.
That's where I
And
come
so
in.
That's where
Yes.
you come in.
Well-
and this is where all the papers, I like it.
It is a little overwhelming. Okay, so out of the blue one day, we started getting these little checks in the mail, and we had no idea why.
I like it.
And they
Why isn't it opened?
Um,
Are you scared of the check?
well, here's the thing. At first, I'm like, why is the government sending me a check?
What's
I
the
send
catch?
checks to the government, but they don't ever send me a check. So is this a scam? And number two, I didn't sign up for anything.
Yeah.
I didn't go into any website and check a box, and that's
They just sent you money.
they just sent me money, and money's been coming every single month since July. And so apparently it's called the child tax credit, and at first, Dave, my husband and I were like, well, I'm not going to send that check. There's just been so much going on with that, like mistrust here. And
I know.
We're like, is this like,
Yeah.
are we, yeah.
Are they going to oversee my accounts now that I deposited into? Yeah, I've heard it all.
So it is a program, child tax credit. If you have kids under the age of 17, they are eligible, each individual child, up to certain amounts. Your income is taken into consideration as to how much you get per child, obviously their ages as well. But it was signed into law in March as part of the American Rescue Plan Act. And this is only for 2021. So I think that's one important piece people need to know if they're receiving these checks. It is only for at this point in time, this is only for 2021, but it is based on 2020. And some articles I read mentioned 2019 as well. So you need to be aware of that, because that's how they determined your amounts and if you were eligible for it. So I think one thing that is important for people to know is, one, you can opt out of these payments. Well, why would you want to opt out of the payments? I mean, why not take free money? It's not really free money.
Sure.
You are getting their advances. They are only advance payments. The government is going to give you half, and then when you file your 2022 taxes, you're going to claim the rest of that. So it's important for people to know you're not going to get the full credit when you file your 2021 taxes in 2022.
Because they're prepaying you for
You're
that.
getting that half in advance.
Okay.
And so that's important to know. If you opt out, there's no penalties. They're not forcing you to take free money, but you didn't have to sign up for this, but you do have to physically go on and opt out if you want to. Another option as well to opt out of monthly, you can opt for a lump sum amount. So for some people, they don't like getting monthly payments. They'd rather get the lump sum amount. It's already October, so if you haven't done this yet, then I don't know that that's even an option for you anymore. But you also, a reason to opt out, and I thought this was interesting, is if you or your spouse were unemployed or had a lower salary in 2020. So like in our case, my husband's small business went to the you went just completely
It was a rough year.
off the rails because he's in
rough
production
year.
and live events
Yeah.
and travel. So that didn't happen in 2020. But 2021, he's made a big bounce back. So they want people to understand if you are a joint income family and you earned an adjusted gross income from 2020 to 2021. So let's just use round. So let's say
Sure.
you only made 100,000 joint in 2020 and you are jumping up to 160 in 2021. It may be because they're basing it off of your 2020 monies, it is possible that you might ultimately owe the IRS all of that money back.
When they calculate your whole entire return.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You may end up owing all of it back.
Okay.
So that's something to keep in mind.
Hence
yeah.
why yours is still in the envelope and sealed.
Now keep in mind, for a couple months, these would come and I was like,
Did you put it in the safe so
like a
like
hot
if there's
potato.
like a transmitter on it or something? So there's no bugs planted in your house.
keep in mind, like it would come and David's like, we got.
Well, I love how you were even holding it. Like you're like, is
I
this
don't mean
tainted?
that. Because in the beginning, like again, David would come and he's like, we got another one. I'm like, they sent us more money? It's like a hot potato. Says I'm scared. I don't want.
Yeah.
Listen, we always owe money in taxes. So if they're sending me a check,
Sure.
I'm like, I'm gonna have to pay that back.
Yeah.
And are you gonna charge?
It's just an evil game that they play with my mind.
So now I've researched it and I know it's a
Sure.
legit program and
And it's really helped a lot of
it
families
has
get through the recovery
really
of the
helped.
pandemic. But it's
Absolutely.
important to know, and I like what you said, there's no such thing really as free money.
Right.
This is a prepayment. This
Yep.
will come back into your equation of your tax return. There will be a certain percentage of folks out there, of listeners out there, that might even owe some back.
Mm-hmm.
So just, again, the show is to equip you, to kind of show you the inside track of certain things,
Yeah.
to break it down so it seems more manageable.
Yeah.
But that's really good.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great details if you're getting this and just want to know more about it because it can also be reduced over time if your modified gross income starts exceeding certain limits. So if you're making more money, so if you notice you're getting less, there's a reason for that. I think they reduce it by $50 for each 1,000 that your MAGI exceeds. So there's some great tips out there. It is a great program. It has helped a lot of people. It's really not a hot potato anymore.
Well, now that especially you've done the research,
Now that
hopefully you're more
You
comfortable
think I would have
with
done the
it.
research from the beginning? Like how stupid was
Well,
I?
well, some people, I think, again, when it's the IRS, you just don't really know how to treat it because it seems overwhelming at all levels.
Yeah.
Because they make the rules, they can change the rules, they can, and they're scary.
And that's what some of these
agency a
articles
little
said as
bit.
well. Talk to your
So,
tax advisor
yes.
about what's best with this to know
Yeah.
what you should do. Because to your point, I mean, again, I didn't sign up for anything, so I was like, I don't want to pay anything back. But I didn't. If I don't cash it, did I
How
really
do they
get it?
know where I live?
So
No,
yeah,
I
if
know.
you're receiving one, you
Of
want to know
course
more
they
about
do.
it. There's a lot of great articles out there that will help you understand some other bits and pieces about it.
Yeah. And why this folds in is because obviously there are going to be significant tax increases in the works. And it's going to affect more Americans than others, but it will impact all of us one way or another because the way in which these tax increases are being proposed, it's not just in a certain rate increase amongst the wealthy and however they determine who that wealthy is. It's actually they're expanding their ideas are to expand taxes on corporations, on estate tax planning, certain things that will impact a great majority of us. And ultimately it can roll down the hill to all of us, in any kind of socioeconomic class, because oftentimes, especially in the corporate world, if you are paying more out of pocket, and we talked a little bit about this last show, if inflation is impacting a business, if the supply chain shortage is impacting it, if higher taxes impact, they ultimately have to raise their prices. So it's not like anyone is going to be completely not impacted by these tax increases, but there will be some of us out there that will be significantly impacted.
Do you see me starting to chuckle?
Why?
Okay. Have y'all seen that? Are they called memes?
Yes.
I'm not into the. Okay. The memes. There's a meme out there. I'm sorry, this isn't taxes, but it is gas. Have you seen it? It's the meme that said, okay, so picture like a gas, like where they post the prices.
Yeah.
Okay? There's one that says arm, leg, soul, and then diesel is kids. I'm like, this is the
It's insane. It is. It's absolutely insane. So I totally get it. And so,
Sorry.
Oh no, it's all relative. I mean, regarding inflation, the stock market, some of the things this year we've all been able to benefit, and a lot of us have either refinanced our homes or purchased new homes at amazing low interest rates. So we have all of these financial levers going in various directions. Obviously, taxes are going to increase. Inflation is increasing. But the stock market has helped all of us in one way or another because it's been a very good year of returns. And those lower interest rates have helped all of us with all of our loans out there, all of our debt. And so as we get to the end of the year, and you said this a second ago, is making sure that you're meeting. One meeting is all it takes. But to meet with your tax advisor, if you don't have one, there are plenty of H&R Blocks, Jackson Hewitts out there who set up at Walmart or Target or what have you. You don't have to have your own individual CPA. But what you want to do between now and the end of the year is really take a look at a couple critical things, because the tax plan that is in law currently is still the Trump tax plan. We don't hear about it a lot right now, but it is still there. And with the Trump tax plan, it doesn't matter if about Trump, but the tax plan is what is still installed. And it's the lowest tax brackets in 40 years. So because it's still, and it's right now set to sunset December 31st, 2025, I'll be shocked if it doesn't revoke before then. But nonetheless, between now and the end of the year, this is the tax plan that's in effect. Okay. So you want to be able to meet with your accountant and take a look at some critical things of how you can reduce your tax bill, how you can stay in a very low tax bracket. Really, especially couples filing jointly, if you have taxable accounts of any kind from a retirement perspective, and you're maybe 5 years out from retiring, you may want to take a look and see what you want to convert from your IRA into a Roth IRA. And we've talked a lot about Roth.
Will you remind this audience what that is? Because some people don't know the difference.
Absolutely. So a Roth IRA is, you've already paid taxes on that money. So it goes in kind of this protected account that as it grows, you don't have to pay tax anymore. You don't have to take any kind of forced distributions after a certain age, which is 72, called an RMD. There's different benefits the government gives you today. Yeah. That if you pay the tax up front or now, you can put it kind of in this golden egg that can grow without the government touching it again. But if you don't do that,
they really never touch it again.
Right now they can't. And we're going to talk about that, I think probably in next week's show. Okay. But because taxes are so low now, there are some couples out there that can convert maybe an extra $100,000, maybe an extra $40,000 and not increase their overall tax rate. Okay. But to kind of take one piggy bank, pay some tax, and put it in the tax-free piggy bank. Okay. And because the brackets are so low, so you can almost, some couples, you can double the amount you take out, and your tax rate only increases 2%. Where under the Obama-Biden administration, that same amount would have cost you 9%. Okay. Now it only costs you 2%. Okay. So those are the kind of the tax levers that we probably won't ever see again once the Trump tax plan.
So you want to pull those levers now.
Sunsets. So you want to pull them as much as you can now, and over the next however many years between now and 2025, the end of 2025, if not before. Right. So to take a look. For those of us who are not as close to retirement, and we are still, taking a look at how to make this tax plan work for us, it's just good to be mindful. And we're going to talk a lot about Roth accounts in the next several shows, because for me and for some of us, a lot of listeners out there have 401ks. Yeah. And because they work for a company that sponsors a 401k. One of the main questions I want all of you to ask your employer or take a look at your 401k plans is a lot of companies offer a Roth 401k. So it's a way to maximize how much you can put in a Roth account as a youngin of any age. And you can actually put more than people think. So, and we'll talk more about that in subsequent shows. But this tax advantage, this strategy that we're talking about in today's show, is really knowing what your tax bracket is, knowing how much you anticipate need to pay taxes. Some of us who work, a 9-to-5, we're a W-2 employee, we don't really worry about because it's taken out of every paycheck. Those who are business owners out there, it's a lot more complicated. And so if you own a business, absolutely meet with your CPA between now and the end of the year, because there's some things that you can take advantage of. And a lot of business owners don't have 401ks, right?
Yeah.
So there's other creative ways that they can still save for retirement. But unfortunately, I meet with a lot of business owners because we have a lot of strategies at our firm that work with them, and a lot of them don't save for retirement because it's not automatic, because it's not something that is just taken out of their paycheck, because they own the company. They have their head down, they're running their business, and they oftentimes neglect their own retirement, or they think it's all in the sale of their business. And sometimes that's just not how it goes. And so, especially to my business owners, I encourage you, absolutely take time to meet with your CPA, because higher taxes are coming. There's strategies now that won't be available to you probably in 2 or 3 years. Yeah. And so that's what we wanted to focus today's show on, which is, I know, not that exciting.
David and I are actually meeting with ours
I
tomorrow.
was so excited to hear that.
He's a small business owner, and we get raked over the coals.
Well, it feels like that. If there's some benefits that business owners can get that 9-to-5 W-2 employees can't.
Yeah, for sure.
But you have to be on top of your game.
Right.
You can't just it'll work out.
Yeah. Well, and you can get so busy running your own business, like you said, that you while you're funding other people's retirement, you forget to look out for your own as well.
Absolutely. So as we close today's show. And again, we're going to there are 7. Today, we talked about taxes. We just started to talk about the traditional IRA 401k and what the differences are. We'll continue to expand upon that during our next show, because it's that critical. Honestly, probably my largest retirement account is the one I started when I was like 22. And I have not been that disciplined as I was as a 22-year-old, I knew time was on my side, and that's where I have still made the most significant impact, because I've had it for the longest. So all of you 22-year-olds out there, if you're in your 20s and you work for a company and you have not started your 401k, just do that. Yes. If you just do that alone, you will make a significant dent 22. Between now and when you retire.
Embarrassingly, I never even thought of retirement at 22. I was a working girl. Never crossed my mind.
See? So now you can tell the other 22-year-olds out there to learn from.
Do it, because I don't have that big retirement account.
Totally. Well, we're here for all. We're here for all. We're here for the close to retirement to the just starting out.
I'll just move in with you.
There you go.
I'm just going to retire.
Well, we were talking about creating like a house circuit of like everyone put it into the kitty. We'll have little houses in different locations, and we'll just go on the rounds. So that I like that concept.
I love that concept.
But before we end today's show, I love our YouTube channel. It's going so well. I listen to our shows in the morning, and I've recorded them. I've listened to them.
Yeah, me too.
I always watch them because they put me in a good mood.
I know.
So I encourage our audience, if you haven't tried out our YouTube channel, please do so. It puts us in a good mood. But I think
follow us, please, on Instagram.
Absolutely.
We'd love to hear from you. #. Let's do a Throwback Thursday, or you're always a better one at picking hashtags. But we'd love to hear with you and engage with our community.
And if something I said today resonated, copytalkpodcast.com is our website. We have a link to my financial firm, Lighthouse Financial. We can help set up a CPA meeting for you. We can help take a look at your investments, take a look at your IRAs, your Roth IRAs, have those conversations with you. And so go on our website and you can directly link in, and we can make an appointment.
So,
resources. It is. So we will adjourn with taxes. See, no one fell asleep in the room. I'm excited.
I don't know. He's losing.
I don't know.
There.
We've lost maybe one, but
I saw Kelly.
See,
once.
it'll be okay. So tune in next week. We'll continue. Continue this route.
Yeah.
But it's really important, and it's time sensitive.
Yes.
So we wanted to cover it.
Tune in next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Financial planning services through Lighthouse Financial LLC, a registered investment advisor. Investor. Shannon Ross is CEO and managing partner of Lighthouse Financial. Lighthouse and Cambridge are not affiliated.